Hello, and today I'm going to be talking about sporting goods and licensed products. My name is Nathan Starkey. Um, First of all, in the industry, you have the SGMA, which is the Sporting Goods Manufacturers Associations. Um, this includes manufacturers of sporting goods, equipment, athletic footwear, sports apparel, accessory items, so on and so forth. The list goes on and on. Um, the actual sporting goods equipment itself, though, this has to do with the fitness and sport specific products. Athletic footwear. This is kind of covered by branded or unbranded shoes, whether it be for casual, active, outdoor use. Um, Anything you can really think of that you're going to use, have to wear some kind of athletic shoe in. Um, that would cover that. Um, Next, the sports apparel. This relates to the garments worn for specific sports. Whether it be Under Armour, you see Under Armour getting publicized for football all the time, and all the advertisements they have. Nike and Adidas. I mean, really, you know, um, the shoes, the shorts, anything sports related wise, um, goes along in that category. One of the challenging issues in the brand kind of the brand world is just the fact that brands such as Nike and Adidas have already established themselves and are kind of reign over everyone else. I mean, you have Reebok and Fila and you have all these different other brands. Not, I mean, they're well known, but excuse me, because of Nike and Adidas, it's really hard for these. Well, it's not hard for them, these companies, that the Reebok per se, um, to kind of make a good revenue, but um, it's tougher for incoming ones. For instance, you have Li Ning, was a three-time gold medalist champion from China. Okay, so that was his. He grew up there. So you'd think, he would have first dibs on China, but he tried starting his own athletic footwear company, and it didn't really go the way he planned because you have Nike and Adidas that have already established themselves as front runners, and a lot of brands are going to come after Nike and Adidas, for example. A lot of people are just going to get the conception in their head that oh, well, they're just trying to remake, or they're just trying to remake this model or this model, and it's all the same. So, why would I not stick to Nike or Adidas? And I mean, a lot of people have good reasoning behind that, but that's just, that's what makes, that's kind of an issue revolved around whether it be the licensed products or, um, established brands that have already made a name for themselves. It's really hard for um, another company or another entrepreneur like Li Ning in this case to get going, even though he is from China. Um, as far as career implications go, personally, I want to work within. I want to do agent work, um, and this could kind of the whole brand and licensed product. It won't have a huge effect on what I want to do. I don't think, but for instance, if I had applied for a certain agency and they had kind of taken the image of a certain brand, say Nike, for instance, um, I would kind of have to adopt, that brand for at least for work related, business. But I think that would ultimately um, lead to, you know, kind of me personally taking the image, whether it be my personal life or just in general. I mean, because I would be so accustomed to it. After a while, I mean, I would have to work with it. So um, I would probably, take that image from my work life, and kind of, translate it over to a personal side. Um, which, I mean, unless it was like a brand I hated, I don't see that being, a huge, a really huge deal. I don't think it'd be much of a problem. So in summary, you have the sporting goods and licensed products, like I mentioned, whether it be equipment, athletic footwear, apparel, accessories, garments, you name it, anything sports related that you're going to need um, in order to play a sport, the equipment side of basketball, football, baseball, or something. The apparel for it, which it's not as much of a necessity as the actual products, um, but it still does play a huge factor. Whether it be Under Armour clothing, um, Nike, Nike socks that you see a lot of basketball players wearing, etc., so on and so forth. The SGMA, like I mentioned, is the largest trade association that assists with sporting good professionals. And as I mentioned, that stands for Sporting Goods Manufacturers Associations. Um, yeah, as I mentioned, that's the largest trade association. Um, the licensed product industry generates a significant amount of revenue. In 2010, they generated 200 billion worth of licensed merchandise. And of that 200 billion, 25 billion of it, was sports related, which is an eighth. Which, I mean, out of all licensed merchandise worldwide, that's just in the sports world. That's huge. So you can obviously see what kind of role the sports world plays in selling licensed merchandise, or just how it relates to fans of all sports, really. Leagues and teams that earn a percentage of the sales, these are the royalties they earn. So, whether it be, Oregon, how they have all these different variations of uniform styles that a lot of people know about. Um, they're obviously sponsored by Nike. They would earn a certain percentage of these sales, which again are called the royalties, or um, just other teams that affiliate with one specific brand that don't really wander off into other brands. So if a team is with Nike, they're with Nike. They're not going to go to Adidas, Fila, Reebok, etc. And they're going to earn a percentage of these sales that are made. Overall, there's a large demand for people to work in the sporting good and licensed product industries. You're always going to need people, developing and making these. Any place where equipment or a specific style of clothing is required to play a sport, obviously these industries become vital in the sports world. As I kind of mentioned this earlier. And so yeah, there's always going to be a demand, for people to keep the cycle going and keep the wheel spinning. And the last, kind of touched on this a little bit ago. Professional and collegiate teams, they rely, like Oregon, for instance, they rely heavily on licensed product industries such as Nike for the uniform or tires. I think it was noted that in 2013 or 12, one or the other, Oregon had a variation of their style, their Nike, the Nike that had created a certain color scheme for them, and it had ultimately given them 348 different variations of a uniform style that they could make. With their jerseys, pants, socks, helmet. So obviously you can see how, and how you look when you play isn't everything, but obviously this does play a huge part in the sports world when it comes to licensed product industries. And so that is my presentation on sporting goods and licensed products, and I hope you learned a bit about it. Thanks.